With the government shutdown set to extend into next week, after the Senate failed to advance short-term funding bills for the fourth time yesterday, the House has canceled votes next week. But President Trump is using the impasse to inflict pain on his political foes. Just this week, he said that he and Office of Management and Budget Director Russ Vought would like to figure out which, quote, Democrat agencies to cut. In addition to that, numerous government websites have been updated with partisan language blaming Democrats for the shutdown, as you see on your screen there. Joining us now at the table, Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona. Senator, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good to be here.
Our colleague Michael Schnell wrote this morning, Times of Flat Circle, her latest says basically Democrats and Republicans are not moving closer together. They're actually moving further apart, which is not exactly where you want to be when the government is shut down. How do you see the state of play right now?
Well, also physically further apart.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm here in Washington, D.C. I'm ready to sit down with my Republican colleagues. Many of them left. Mm-hmm. The House is now recessed through next week. They're on vacation. They've been on vacation, I think since July 25th, they've been in session for 14 days. Mm-hmm. Speaker Mike Johnson doesn't want to negotiate this. They are in charge of the House, the Senate, and the White House. And the way we conclude this is for us to talk to each other and negotiate something that is good for the American people. Make no mistake. This is about the price that people are going to have to pay for their health care. That's all this is about. They wanted a big tax cut for the wealthiest Americans. They got that. They're paying for it by raising premiums on hardworking people.
Can you speak to the lie that the administration and Republicans are pushing, that you all are fighting for undocumented immigrants to have all this fancy health care all of a sudden, that's what this is about? Because that's not true, is it?
Well, it's also nuts, I think, that they always go to undocumented people, mm-hmm. illegal immigrants. They're going to blame illegal immigrants for everything. Mm-hmm. If you are undocumented in our country, you cannot get health care from the Affordable Care Act exchange. You are not eligible for Medicare. You are not eligible for Medicaid for undocumented people. So they're just making that up. They just like to blame
brown people for
brown
everything.
people.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. And I mean, this is also an issue where we talked about this in the first hour. A majority of Republicans, Trump backers, support these subsidies. And actually, Republicans in the Senate and the House were briefed by Trump's pollsters in the spring or over the summer that they would be politically wise to get behind extending this, get ahead of the game, and try to own this issue themselves. I mean, what are you hearing maybe privately from your Republican colleagues about this? Is there anything that hasn't come out yet that might be surprising to us and our viewers about that conversation about subsidies?
Well, the Republicans that I talk to are really concerned about these premiums going up. I don't think I've talked to one that doesn't have some level of concern about this. Look at Alaska for a second. 2 Republican senators. There are individuals that have received letters where their premiums are going to go from $600 a month to $4,000 a month. That happened. The state of Arizona, premiums on average will rise 55%. For some people, they will double. Well, I mean, we could wind up in a situation in Arizona where 109,000 people lose their health insurance. That means they are one accident or one illness away, maybe with a kid, and now they're bankrupt, because they're not going to let their kid go without health care. People die when they don't have health insurance. We could see thousands of people die because of these policies. It's pretty simple to solve. And when you're talking about the president, this is in his best interest to fix this.
Is there an appetite amongst these same Republicans who are telling you they're worried about this to negotiate? Are they happy with Republican leadership and with the White House on their posture?
I mean, they're never going to say they're upset with their leadership, but they will say that we need to figure this out. They would like us to just pass their CR, the House CR, but they didn't want to negotiate this for months.
Yeah.
I mean, the negotiation the White House did, 1 hour. And by the way, I think leadership on both sides of the aisle realized that the president of the United States didn't even understand the details of what they were negotiating, didn't know what these ACA premium tax credits were. He's the president. He should get like a piece of paper where this explains this to him before he goes into the meeting.
He does.
He does. He doesn't read it.
Senator, let's widen the aperture a bit here, because earlier in the week, Republicans were saying, look, just vote for the CR and then we can talk about the subsidies later. Since then, they've even backed off that. But I bring that up because let's say you guys were to say, OK, we're going to vote for this. We're going to vote for the CR, and you're going to trust them to have
a conversation.
About these subsidies, which is not going to happen. And it's not going to happen because the appropriations bills for the budget for next year, there haven't been any conversations or negotiations happening on those, and those need to happen also before the end of the year. So,
we got 3 of them done through the, out of the committee.
Well, yeah, but you got to do.
We've got to do the rest of them.
You have to do the rest.
100%.
So are Democrats right then to stand firm on this, knowing full well that nothing's going to happen later on in the year?
And Trump in
a conversation doesn't.
For it.
A conversation isn't good enough, because we know how that conversation ends. At this point, what they need to do is have a real negotiation, and there needs to be a compromise. And maybe we don't get everything that we want, but they're not going to get everything that they want out of this. And we meet somewhere in the middle, and we figure this out in a way that the American people, again, don't get screwed over.
But, Senator, I keep thinking of the Atlantic's Adam Sorer, who in the first Trump administration famously wrote, "The cruelty is the point." In Trump 2.0, the cruelty is the policy. And I just wonder, do you even think President Trump and his administration even cares that the premiums are going to skyrocket?
I think he cares.
People are going to die as a result of not having health care.
I don't think he cares about that. What he cares about is what Jackie was talking about, is how this affects him. Mm-hmm. And when you look in the areas of our country where this has the biggest impact, it's rural areas. He won most rural areas. Extending these premiums are supported by strong majority of Republicans. And when you consider people that consider themselves like a Trump Republican, I hate saying the MAGA word, mm-hmm. but the MAGA Republicans, it's even stronger support than a generic Republican. Like above 60%, they want these extended. So I think when the president thinks, okay, how is this going to affect me? Because, Donald Trump is the center of Donald Trump. That's what he cares about. He should, for his own personal best interest, extend these premiums.
Can I ask you quickly about your fellow mods, the Democratic moderates? Are you confident that they are going to keep this position and not fold and ultimately support extending the CR?
Well, I can only speak for myself. I think this.
How long are you going to hold out?
Well, this is just a fundamental question. Who are we standing with? Are we going to stand with the richest Americans so they can get their big giant tax cut? Or are we going to stand with hardworking people that are about to see their premiums, in many cases, double, and they cannot afford it? We hear that. We've received phone calls, a lot of them, about this, that as these premiums go up, they lose their health insurance. And just that does not work for families in my state. I represent millions and millions of people that are going to be impacted by these increases.
Are we still going to be in a shutdown by Thanksgiving?
I'm not the I'm not the handicapper on shutdown dates. This is the first one of these I've been through. So,
okay.
Ask the guest that's coming up next.
Correct.
Oh,
she's been through a couple.
Don't you worry. And he's alluding to Senator Amy Klobuchar of the great state of Minnesota, but Senator Mark Kelly of the great state of Arizona. Thank you very much for coming to the weekend.